Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dale of Dale's Leatherworks. Just wanted to do this impromptu update video on walking because I just found out some new information that I didn't know a week ago that I thought was very important to share. I was always under the impression that exercise was good for your heart but hard on your heart. But then I found out something about walking that's actually the polar opposite of that. See, I thought no matter what the activity was, it was putting some strain on your heart to some degree. And that's true. If you're running, if you're sprinting, that's an incredible strain on your heart. You're causing it to go into overdrive, pump faster and harder to get oxygen to all your muscles because you're vastly depleting of oxygen. But actually, I just listened to a podcast of Tom DeLauer again, and he was interviewing a real doctor, a real life doctor. Imagine that. This guy was saying that your legs actually act as a second heart. Your legs actually act as a primer or a pre-pump to your heart. And he likened it to, now I'm not a mechanic or anything, but he likened it to, in boats, you have like a pre-pump so that the engine runs smoother. I don't know how it all works, but I understand how it works health-wise, right? It's not just your heart doing all the pumping. And when you walk, you're actually helping your heart when you walk. So actually walking is easier on your heart than sitting is or standing is. When you walk, you're actually activating your two other hearts in your body, which is your left and your right leg. That's how I'm gonna think about them now. Wearing my tri boots today. Heart one, heart two. I sort of had that in my mind a lot these last few days. Every time I walk, I think I'm helping my heart pump, not stressing it into pumping like running or walking up an incline would do, or bench press or boxing or fill in the blank, right? No, walking is probably the best activity for your heart. I think that seems to be true because I notice when I sit for a long period of time, I always just assumed it was because, I don't know, I wanted to feel like I wanted to be active. I never liked sitting it just feels unnatural to sit for too long. I'm sure most of you have felt the sensation like you just sit too long and you just you can't help it. You have to get up and move. The reason being is because sitting is very hard on your heart. It's sitting there sedentary in your chest, having to pump blood through your entire cardiovascular system by itself, just left there to its own device. Literally, it's your heart against your body. But when you walk, you're activating your two other hearts, which are your legs. By the way, I'm not a doctor, this isn't health advice, and I'm sure most medical professionals would absolutely have a laugh at me calling your legs other hearts, auxiliary hearts, but they are auxiliary pumps. That's kind of how I think about them now, and so that's how you should think about it too.
Muscle is an auxiliary pump system. Do you know that our heart requires a preload, just like any pump? You have a bilge pump in your boat, right? If you don't prime that pump with a preload of water, the pump will fail. If you don't pump blood up from your lower extremities, since we're bipedal organisms, we walk around, our blood pools in our lower extremities. By walking, by exercising the muscles of your lower extremities, you're actually augmenting the preload to your heart. You're reducing the work it has to do. And so the bottom line is muscle tissue as a blood pumping, blood support, cardiovascular support system is critically important.
And especially if you're a boot nut like me, put those boots on, go for a walk. I'm averaging 10 to 12,000 steps a day right now. I'm loving it.
Walking with the wifey.
The wifey's come along with me tonight. That same doctor brought up another interesting point. He talked about the pursuit of youthful aesthetics for longevity. I thought that was really interesting.
Boys like myself who wanted to do things like trauma and neurosurgery and so on. And then the guys who were really artists and they wanted to use their skills to improve the physical form of the human body. And these guys chose things like plastic, aesthetic, reconstructive surgery. And what they learned, and by the way, we owe them a debt of gratitude because they taught us a lot about stem cells along the way. But what we learned is that when people have a negative image of themselves, and a big part of that has to do with physical appearance, anything you can do to correct and improve that pays tremendous benefits and dividends in terms of mental state, and that actually affects the immune system, and it affects exercise tolerance, cognitive performance. And so I've become very sensitive to the fact that preservation of youthful aesthetics will in fact create benefits that translate into an impact on lifespan. I'll give you a perfect example. I bet you, and I don't think anybody's done the work, and maybe I'm going to prime my plastic surgery and dermatology colleagues to think about this. I bet you if you look at the impact of long-term regular use of things like Botox, I bet you it's associated with a gain in overall health span, because people perform better when they have a high-quality mental state associated with youthful aesthetics. A colleague of mine once talked about, if you in your mind perceive yourself as youthful, regardless of your age, you will live longer than if you perceive yourself as elderly. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And so the aesthetic side of the equation matters.
You know, I've had work on my hair, and you know, I am aging, I have a bad back, started to get overweight, trying to get in control of that. Something about that struck a deep chord with me too. Pursuit of youthful aesthetics. I think there's something true to that. He was saying that the pursuit of youthful aesthetics can have profound mental and emotional benefits over a prolonged period of time. I said, you know what, that's true too. There has to be something to that. He wasn't citing any studies or anything like that, but he actually credited plastic surgeons with being artists and being able to make people appear younger. And in a lot of cases they do. You know, a lot of these actresses, yeah, they're starting to look plastic and artificially chiseled, and they're starting to have a very doll-like appearance, a lot of these Hollywood types. But I think in moderation, a little plastic surgery is just good grooming. Yes, the pursuit of youthful aesthetics. And what does walking do? It's the best fat-burning exercise you can do. And what does slimming down do? Well, it boosts your youthful aesthetics. It brings about a more youthful appearance that can have profound emotional, morale-boosting effects, which in turn help reduce anxiety and increase longevity. So it's not just all about vanity here. Hey guys, editing me here, and I just figured I wanted to throw in a little clip from one of my favorites, Dr. Jason Fung, who is the fasting grandmaster of the world. He had me doing fasting for quite a long period of my life. Probably about 7 years ago, I was doing basically one meal a day. They call it OMAD. I was just doing dinner. The problem with that is long term, I fell off of it because I was starting to binge eat during dinner and I wasn't making the best choices, and I was becoming extremely nutrient deficient in other areas, and I just wasn't really doing it right. And then I realized over time that I could just, instead of doing fasting as intense as I was, I could just spread out my calories throughout the day and get most of those benefits anyways. But in this clip, Dr. Jason Fung breaks down how fasting ages you backwards, and this is 100% true. So this is definitely relevant to the discussion of the pursuit of youthful aesthetics. You can achieve youthful aesthetics through intermittent fasting / caloric restriction. And the reason being, this is how I understand it, according to him, is when you're in a caloric restriction or a deep fast, your body, it makes energy through a process called gluconeogenesis, which is breaking down junk protein. It's not going after your muscle predominantly. It will go after some muscle, but it's going after junk protein. And that's why people who fast start to look younger over time, because as your body eats up its fat stores and its junk proteins, what it's doing is going after your wrinkles, stretch marks, it's going after loose skin. It's eating up all this loose skin. So even if you're super overweight, you can lose that loose skin, your body will eat it right up. That's why people who are in really deep fasts, their skin tags drop off their backs, because the immune system recognizes like, oh hey, there's a lot of stuff here I wasn't able to focus on prior. Now that I'm not distracted by all this food coming in all the time, I could actually laser focus target areas of the body that are just unnecessary. If you got a bunch of red skin tags hanging on the back of your back, guess what? If you go into a deep fast, I'm talking like a 20-30 day fast, they might just fall off one day. You know, the body will analyze itself and cleanse itself at the cellular level. It's looking for the junk that it can get rid of. Yes, that also means other things that grow that are quite dangerous. It starts with it rhymes with tumor. Just kidding. It rhymes with humor. I'm being humorous. But no, in all honesty, fasting does all kinds of miraculous things. Eats up junk that shouldn't be there. That's the key thing to remember. And that's why fasting is so beneficial as well with people with very bad diseases that start with the letter C. So I'll let Jason Fung take this away, but fasting ages you backwards, makes your skin look more youthful. It reverses the aging process for all intents and purposes and dramatically improves your longevity.
In stage 3, Dr. Cahill called this stage gluconeogenesis, which lasts from about 16 to 30 hours. At this stage, the glycogen in the liver, which is the stored sugar, is starting to run out. And we haven't quite switched over into fat metabolism completely. So there's this intermediate stage where the body is going to generate the glucose from protein. That's what the word gluconeogenesis means. It means the production of new glucose predominantly from protein. This sounds pretty bad. A lot of people are like, wow, if you're breaking down protein, that's going to take a toll on the body. But that's not quite true. This is likely the stage where we're seeing a lot of autophagy. Dr. Osumi, the 2016 Nobel laureate, who won for his work on autophagy, called it the body's intracellular recycling system. What fasting does is it stimulates the breakdown of these subcellular parts, which are often proteins. And doing this achieves two things. One, it gets rid of all those old junky pieces of cellular machinery that are just not working that well. And two, it can take those amino acids and rebuild them into what's necessary. And the process of breaking down old junky parts and replacing them with newer, better parts is actually good. It's regeneration or rejuvenation. The body is going to sense what is necessary to be rebuilt and going to rebuild it better. But what is not necessary is not going to be rebuilt. And this is likely why we don't see the problems with the excess skin that other weight loss programs seem to have. When you do fasting, you have this period of autophagy, of gluconeogenesis, where proteins are getting broken down. And that's proteins like the excess skin and excess connective tissue and blood vessels that are simply not needed anymore. And you don't get that if you don't have this period of fasting.
Your eyes don't lie. Your eyes know when you look at yourself in the mirror, and they know when you see yourself as looking good or looking less than good. And in recent years, I've looked at myself and saw something less than ideal, we'll say. I'm not too hard on myself, but if you can reach for a more youthful appearance, that could help you live longer. So just wanted to throw that out there. While we're at it, I just recorded a small clip from Coach Greg Doucette, who I've been watching all his videos lately. He's hilarious. A lot of people don't like him. He's kind of a character on camera. He kind of takes on a new persona when he's acting like a coach. When he's actually in an interview, he acts like a normal guy, but you'll see when I play this clip. But he's essentially attacking paleo diet, which I love because I hate the paleo diet. I've always said it's too restrictive and it's too culty. You know, you can feel when something's just a little too culty. You know, like imagine walking into a Scientology seminar. You know, I'm not talking about the level 1ers. I'm talking about the level 12ers or whatever. You know, the ones that been to through all the auditing sessions and met Xenu himself and all that stuff. It would feel rather culty, right? Walking in at that level, or walking into a Freemasonry lodge. You know, only reserved for 33rd degree Freemasons. I'm actually above that. I'm a 34th degree Freemason. No, just kidding. There's another level, 34. That's where I'm at.
Back in Rosenberg lost a lot of weight. Other guys have lost a lot of weight, and women have lost a lot of weight the following way. I just give the following instruction.
That's it. You just say it. That's it. You're not going to have to buy anyone's cookbook. You're not going to have to hire any trainers, dietitians. You're put out of business. It's all you need to know. It's so easy. Everyone can do it. No one is ever going to cheat on this diet. It's easy. You ready for it? Are you ready?
You can eat meat, fish, eggs, fruit, and vegetables.
And that's it. Case closed. Everyone gonna be shredded. But here's the thing. It's a great diet. I'm not saying it's not gonna work if you can follow it. But how many of you right now raise your fucking hands if you think that you can follow that diet and not cheat for the rest of your life? Liars! Every one of you with your hands up, you're fucking liars. And so it sickens me that people don't know that this is not gonna work. This is not realistic. It's not reality.
Coach Greg Doucette absolutely obliterated the paleo diet. I agree with everything you said there. Like, yeah, it's a great diet if you could stick with it, but the sweeping majority of people cannot stick to that. Imagine saying to yourself, I'm never having rice for the rest of my life. I'm never having a beer for the rest of my life. I'm never having any sugar of any kind for the rest of my life. That would just be like creating your own mini hell. It's too restrictive. It's too small of a cell to confine yourself in. I've talked to people, you know, they say, oh yeah, well, the paleo people, they say, oh, well, fat makes you feel full. First off, that's not true. Fat has never made me feel full. They also say fat doesn't make you fat, sugar makes you fat. Also not true. Fat absolutely makes you fat. Are you kidding me? Greg Doucette was just saying, yeah, even if you're on paleo, it's like, he sees some people on paleo and they're eating chicken and broccoli every day and nothing else, and they're not losing any weight. He says, well, how do you make your broccoli? Oh, I pour 2 cups of olive oil into a pan and get it frying up. It's like, well, there's all your calories. That olive oil is not filling. I'm sorry, I don't feel full when I eat olive oil, and it is loaded with calories. And then here's the other thing. I don't find meat all that filling either. If anything, I feel most full when I have rice with my meal. That's what actually fills me up. You know, people will throw this stuff out there and just think it's gonna stick. Oh, fat makes you feel fuller, protein makes you feel fuller. Ask yourself, do you agree with that? Because I've never resonated with that message at all. What makes me feel is eating a big tub of popcorn. It gets in your stomach and give it some time and it expands. That's what makes me feel fuller than anything, is popcorn. But it's not the fat, it's the fibers and carbs in it that make me feel full. So anyways, just wanted to bring this quick update video to you guys. I know a lot of people that are on carnivore diet, on paleo. If you can stick to it, it's great. Like my one buddy, he said, find a diet that you say that you could stick with long term. And he said, you know what, a diet that involves eggs, bacon, and black coffee every morning is my kind of diet. And good. And that's paleo, that's all paleo. But what's lunch look like? Chicken and asparagus? What's dinner look like? A sirloin steak and mushrooms and Brussels sprouts? Okay, that all sounds good. But to me, the whole time I'm thinking, well, where's my rice? I can't help it. I'm like, well, okay, that's all great, but where's my rice actually? And do I get a little bit of a sweet relish here or something like that? No. Some high antioxidant fruit, maybe some more pigments, like some purple or red or blue pigments, something like that. No, just meat and vegetables. Ugh. This just doesn't sound good to me. It doesn't sound good to me short term even. It doesn't sound good at all. Like, I need more than that. I need a lot more diversity in my diet than just that. So Coach Greg nailed it there. Anyways, 3 key takeaways from today's walking video. A, walking, your legs serve as a pre-pump to your heart. Walking helps your heart pump, not taxes your heart. It helps your heart. Second, pursue youthful aesthetics, whatever that means to you. You know it when you see it in the mirror, when you look younger versus when you look older. Pursuing youthful aesthetics can benefit you long-term mentally. And third, the paleo diet is a cult. I will never stop saying this. It's just a cult, okay? All right, anyways. Rice is okay. People have been eating it for tens of thousands of years. So is dairy. People have been drinking dairy. Well, certain people groups have been drinking dairy for a very long time, are very well adapted to it. I'm dairy adapted. Some people aren't, that's fine. Some people feel absolutely sick on dairy. That's a true thing, but it's not true for me. So, all right, anyways, with that, I'll shut it down. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Dale of Dale's Leatherworks. Have a great flat day on this beautiful flat earth.